Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you today. My name is Dustin Cormier, and you're watching another episode of How to Rock Astrology. Today's episode, we are going to be unfolding the dynamic that occurs when somebody has the moon in Scorpio. This is part of our Moon in Scorpio series. In particular, we're going to be talking about what it's like when the moon is in Scorpio and Venus is in the sign of Aquarius. Now, typically, this will carry with it a fourth house aspect, which is getting towards being in trine. Now, if the moon is at the late degrees of Scorpio and Venus is at the early degrees of Aquarius, then it's less of a trine-ish, squarish thing, and so what would be conveyed in this video would not be as bad. But it is an aspect, and so I'm going to kind of start talking about in this video. This isn't going to be as bad as the next video where Venus is in a fuller aspect to the moon. In this case, the moon is Venus is moving towards being in an aspect to the moon. And this is not a good thing in Vedic astrology. What I would say about this is that you have the potential to fall into the pitfalls of the moon starving Venus. But really, I don't think that you are really in danger of this evolving in any terribly hard way, especially because thankfully the moon here is delighted by its friend Saturn. Now, I'm a Tropical Vedic astrologer, folks, so I often convey the things that I convey in these videos from the place and from the understanding of Vedic astrology applied to Western measurements. So this is kind of where I'm at when I say that Venus, by being in the sign of Aquarius, is delighted by Aquarius's ancient ruler, Saturn. Vedic astrology considers that Saturn is the main ruler, certainly, and it shares the energy field of Aquarius, which relates to the heart chakra, is conveyed by Capricorn and Aquarius through Saturn. And so Saturn is the main arbiter of Aquarius energy. Me as a modern taker on Vedic astrology, I would say that Uranus is a sub-ruler of Aquarius, where Saturn is the main ruler. And by Venus being in Aquarius, Venus has its energy entangled and wrapped up with Saturn, at least by sign, and this is a good thing. In Vedic astrology, we say that planets have friends and enemies. Venus certainly has enemies. But by being in Aquarius, Venus is delighted by its friend Saturn. And what it essentially means is that you are capable of sharing and reciprocating whenever somebody has an energy whatever energy they do, whatever energy they convey, or whatever love they give to you, you can reciprocate it and share it. And through that, the Svadhisthana chakra, the second chakra, which is shared by the moon and Venus, is allowed to break its blockages, to open up, and to see the importance of actually bonding at a soul level with a person in a compassionate way, in a true loving soul way, which a lot of Scorpio moons find themselves isolating themselves out of that experience and the capacity for that experience. If you want to learn more about the Scorpio moon psyche, feel free to watch my Scorpio moon video that I did just prior to this Scorpio moon plus Venus series. So, ultimately, I'd say that this is a good, cool combination. Venus here is in the fourth house from that Scorpio moon. I mean, what's really kind of going on is that Venus, by being in Aquarius, is in the fourth house from Scorpio. They are in the same modality, which is a fixed nature. So this shows even more fixity in a way. But Venus, being in a fixed sign, is allowed to penetrate into a mutability by virtue of the fact that Venus is delighted by Saturn here. So what's going to happen is that you are probably somebody who seeks to serve your partner, to doing things like doing the dishes for them, you know, or really when they do something for you in a loving way, there's an inherent nature of this Venus that wants to reciprocate what the person does. Say they take you, let's say, you know, Venus at its best shares interests. So let's say your partner or someone you're dating takes you out on a date, and you know, somebody you met at work, let's say, that's not relating to anything. I'm just, you know, you can meet them anywhere. Let's say you met them at a bar, and you're talking with them, and you know, by being Scorpio moon, you're probably somebody who, the Venus here is like this too. You probably don't date many people and share lots of energy with many people in a strong way. What you'll probably do is meet people without engaging with them, and you'll meet someone at the bar and you'll kind of get a good groove with them, and you might feel like there's a soul energy resonance there, and you will talk with them and they'll mention that, you know, you're shooting the shit about movies, and that you talk about, you know, your favorite movies, because really Scorpio moon is a very isolating individual. They kind of show a big happy smile and they want to talk about all about themselves, and when they meet with people. And this is how Scorpio moon kind of operates, is that it's a very it can be an isolated individual, because Scorpio moon doesn't want to need people. This is at some level one of the great things about Scorpio moon, but at another level it reduces the sharing that the moon really seeks to do. The moon is really all about adapting to our reality in order to convey the desires and needs of the sun. And when the moon can find what it needs out of just about anything, that's like the moon in Taurus at its best. That's when we can learn to still, like water. When the moon is at its essence, it's like water. And if you can fit into the nature of a tea kettle or a cauldron while still retaining your essential nature. And this is what the moon in Taurus conveys, is that they can lend themselves to sharing their energy with other people while still being themselves. The moon in Scorpio is isolating because it is itself first and tries to see how much of itself it can lend out to the world around it. And a lot of the times the world around it is not conducive to what the Scorpio moon person is. But you will you'll say, that's okay. I don't need you. I can learn to be happy within myself, and somebody will come along and appreciate how little I need them, how much I can put my energy into my work and my ambitions and come home and be satisfied that I got it all out at work. Essentially, Scorpio moon is very happy, super pushily happy when they're enjoying themselves at a party or what have you. But nobody ever sees what the Scorpio moon is like when it's moody at home by itself, or when you will see it is when you're working with them. Scorpio moons can push an intense, malefic, negative emotional energy at work. They don't necessarily throw any darts at anybody for the sake of throwing darts at anybody, but they're just cold and just like hard at work, and they get it out of the way so that they can be happy at home. It's a very black and white thing, which is again not how the moon is supposed to be. The moon is supposed to be a little bit happy and a little bit sad, whatever they are when they're at work, and then a little bit happy, a little bit sad, whatever they are, whatever they're honestly feeling when they're at home. That's the moon in Taurus can be honest about what it's feeling and still hold reception to not being too pushy or mean and listening to the other people around them. That's why people come to the moon in Taurus, because emotions are almost permeable for moon and Taurus people. For the moon in Scorpio, it tends to be black and white. Now, when you go out and dating, you meet somebody at a bar, and you're pushing this sort of happy vibe, and you're probably scoping out for shared values in people. And what will happen for you, since you've got moon in Scorpio with Aquarius Venus in the 4th house from the moon, what you'll find yourself doing is talking with people, really talking about what you enjoy and learning what they enjoy in the process. And you'll probably talk with them, and if they're interesting to you, you'll throw a little bit of like, hey, are you interested in me? Would you like to just like hang out sometime? And they're, they will feel that you were very much your own energy, not listening to them at some level. And this is the nature of the moon in Scorpio. It's part of who you are. But you could attract a partner by doing this. Everyone gets the moon that they are. And what this will mean is that you might find that this partner digs that you've got so much of a vital, rich internal life of things that you, of interests that you have. And even though it's a bit centered around you, you might find a partner who wants to support you in that way. Although ultimately any partner is still going to, at some point along the line, ask you, could you think about me sometimes once in a while? And the thing is that you are in a position where that question might not actually have to happen. Because Venus is delighted by Saturn in this way that I'm talking about, where Saturn is causing a earthy, sensual experience of the good things that come from the sharing of love. And the earthy fact of it makes it like whatever energy another person puts into you, you'll feel obligated to share it back with them, just for no reason. Just for the fact that it's like when you drink water and it's refreshing and you want to drink water again. Are you doing it for any other reason than the fact that it feels good? Not really. It just seems to be the right thing to do. Same thing with when someone does something good for you, you can feel obligated to share and learn and feel what they did and then reciprocate it back. And when you do this, it'll probably be a big, heavy, fixed sort of way, because the Venus in Aquarius tends to find people who are probably in the same idea field, where, like it's, let's say they're a motorbiker and they go and hang out with a bunch of people who like motorbikes, and you go and you hang out with them and you find that they are into these motorbikes, and they've got a group of people who are all into this as well, and you go and you're into that as well if you are, and you'll share these big experiences that you've had on your own in your motorbiking world, and your partner will love that you've got all this experience in this regard, and then you'll say, hey, can I help you with your bike? And then the two of you will work in this very fixed way on this very specific thing, and you'll help them out with whatever that thing is, or they'll help you out. And this is kind of really more of what I'm getting at here. Really what I should be saying is that you'll hang out with them, and they'll come along and they'll say, like, oh, cool, you do this with motorcycles? Well, I can get my friend who has this part, this new thing that you might enjoy. And then you'll say, okay, wow. Then you will want to do that energy for them in some way to kind of get them back in the shared way than what they did for you. So the better example would be like, again, you're at the bar, you're shooting the shit about movies, you talk all about the movies that you like, you call them on the phone and they say, or you text them and say, hey, I loved hanging out with you. And if they jive to your rather self-centric thing, I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's part of the Scorpio moon automated way of being. I know you want to surrender your soul to somebody, but you've got to do it within what you are, right? And this is the Scorpio moon energy. So they'll say, okay, yeah, I dug the energy that you were putting down there. How about we go see a movie? I know you liked that Avengers movie or whatever movie it is because you were talking about it. And they listened. And they said, how about we do that movie that you liked? And you say yes. Now, you'll go out with them if you decide to go out with them. And you'll go see the movie. And they're probably the type of person who enjoys the fact that they pleasured you in this way. And you see that. And really, it's this self-centering thing of the moon, which is where like the energy is attracted to your isolated experience. They are attracted to the fact that you are the kingpin, kind of laying out what needs to be done in this relationship, because really you'll just get agitated if it goes outside of the way that you prefer it to be. And this is going to agitate them, but if they're called to play out that karma with you, they're going to do it, and then you guys are going to both feel the mutual agitation of the fact that you just don't think about what the other person would like. You think about what you would like, and you trust that the other person likes the fact that you like what you like. It's not the best energy for the moon, because it's not as attractive. It's not as reciprocal on the outset, and everyone can feel this. But again, certain people, certain souls will be attracted to that which you lay out. Now, the whole point I'm trying to say here is that even though you can be this isolated person, you go out to the movies, the person sees the movie that you want to watch, and even though it's not your typical MO to ask the other person what kind of movie they would like, you are going to be invited in this moment to reciprocate for the other person what they did for you. Because Aquarius Venus just feels, well, it's in particular, it's the fact that, yeah, Venus, by being in Aquarius, is delighted by Saturn, so you will want to take them out to the movies and say, okay, so you did it for me, now I noticed that, you liked this movie, right? So what do you think about that? Do you want to go out to the movies and see that movie? And by trying on what they did for you, you learn the Svadhisthana chakra. You learn how good it feels to do something, to think about what the other person likes, and to do it for them for no reason. And then you'll find, hey, they've gone out and they've bought you a gift, because you're watering their plant, and behold, they are producing fruit. And this is the Venus is, remember what I don't know if I said it in this video yet, but Venus and the moon share the Svadhisthana chakra, and usually they'll compensate for each other. If your moon is debilitated in Scorpio, because of the fact that you're thinking ambitiously about how to transmute your negative emotional energy through your own devices, you can tend to be this self-oriented person, at least where the moon's energy is concerned. But the Venus in you is willing to share and reciprocate. Even though you're feeling moody and gucky, you feel obligated when a person does something good for you to do something good to them in return. And ultimately, my friend, what else is a relationship but the sharing of energy despite what the other two are emotionally feeling? If you're feeling super moody and blah, and it frustrates you to just do anything with other people, it doesn't matter if you still go out, make the connection, do things for other people, and then they do things for you, and voila, you feel the watery energy of the water. The Svadhisthana chakra, the water, is what cools the Manipura chakra, the fire chakra. So that's the sun and Mars, and you're an ambitious person. The moon is acting through Mars here, which means you're probably somebody who is full of fire and ambition, and want at the Jivatman, at the earthly moon aspect of the soul nature. So you're probably somebody who, even though Scorpio's water, it's ruled by Mars, which is, again, Manipura. It's the fire chakra. It's consistent fire. It just happens to be a long-range consistency, but you'll still burn yourself out in the long-range way. And by sharing and reciprocating enjoyable energy with other people in this way, and by enjoying it, by enjoying having sensual outings and just erotic outings in a probably more of an intellectual sharing in some ways, you will get to experience, again, you're watering that person's plant, and they're watering your plant, and behold, they give you fruit. They give you a gift. They give you a kiss. They give you a promise. They give you the promise of sharing in the soul experience of blending your life with another person whom you love and whom loves you. And it's not an obligated thing. It's not like they feel obligated to be with you because you're insecure, which is something that the Scorpio moon is very fearful of, if you're with me on that. Scorpio moon doesn't want to feel like their mother is mothering them. They want to feel like this is a person who has the free will to love whatever they want, and they seem to love me just because of the things that I do, of what I am when I'm not trying. Mind you, you are somebody who's probably going to still try very hard. The moon is supposed to work by what's smarter. Work smarter, not harder. But you, being the Scorpio moon, will feel that ultimately a large part of your energy will involve you doing ambitious things in life to come home and be tired and say, honey, I can't really entertain us both tonight. And because of that Venus in Aquarius, your partner will know that they are getting some kind of water, even though you've chosen with your moon energy to do this thing that makes you harder to be with in a constant way and to constantly share your emotions. And ultimately, even when you're moody, what often kills relationships with Scorpio moon is the moods, is the fact that you put in so much when you're at work, and then you come home and you try to be super happy, and then the partner's, enjoys that happiness, but you can't do it all the time. And when you are you go to work and you're moody, and you come home and you're moody, you probably won't call the person. You're not inclined to call the person. But if Venus in Aquarius promised to go on a date because you took me on a date last week, you might feel this feeling in your gut like, ugh, I'm not there. I'm not my best self. Because again, remember, the moon at its worst is super happy all the time at home and then super depressed and getting through it at work. Venus in Aquarius is allowing you to blend, to act despite your moods, so you can actually get out of that mood. You have to invite opportunities to make it so that it's not bang. It's not like, like one of those metronomes that are doing that sort of thing, that there's the mood pattern that you get into. If you can break out of that mood pattern using the energy of someone else's love, you might still feel this thing. You might still feel the mood that you're experiencing, but you promised to share the water with them that they shared with you. So you go out on date night, go and see the movie that they want to see, even though you're internally all riled up. And by the end of it, you might even have all these splintering, frustrating experiences, and they'll feel it, and it might be ugly at first until you get used to being in a social situation despite your mood being revved up and gross and whatever. Because ultimately, it doesn't matter if you're moody. What matters is the action that you pervade. And you're probably insecure about how intense your background psychic emotional vulnerabilities are. But I'm telling you, my Scorpio moon friend, that doesn't matter if you can engage in the reciprocal action of sharing compassionate, watering, and emotional love for its own sake. And your Venus is positioned in a way where that is the case. If your moon and Venus are in some kind of aspect to each other, you should watch out for this idea that you're just mentally doing this for the other person just to feel good about the fact that you can be loved. If the moon is at such an angle to Venus here, like I said, if the moon is at 0 degrees of Scorpio, and if Venus is at like 29 degrees of Aquarius, then there's a little bit of a trine happening there too. And you can fall into this thing where, if this is the case, you just want to watch out for the ability of your moon to be so wrapped up in Venus, to starve Venus, so that you enjoy so much your own enjoyment of the partner loving you that you don't actually share it with them. You don't feel obligated to do it. You don't want to fake doing things for the other person until you fall into a groove with each other where you enjoy them doing the thing for you so much, but you don't enjoy mutually building a soul relationship. You just enjoy what the person does for you. And if that's the case, you'll find that your lover becomes frustrated because they know this, because emotions don't lie. Over the time, the other person will feel this, and they'll find it difficult to work with you on that. But for the most part, this Venus being delighted in Aquarius, delighted by Saturn, is going to convey a lot about your ability to just let go, especially because the Venus is in the 4th house from the moon. This is going to teach the moon at a deep level through this reciprocal thing that Venus does, this reciprocal integration into ambitious interests that are shared. And it'll probably be something like that. You'll both get into a joy of the same music together, or a joy of working at the same community center, helping kids play baseball or something like that, even though you're not even going out yet, but you meet at the baseball diamond teaching these kids to play baseball, and you find the two of you are sharing in this sort of thing where you're going to be there, and I'll even drive you there if you want so that we can do that for each other, and that might be how you fall into the love. You'll end up finding that you'll probably both have lots of interests that you share together. And it's by doing this that you are going to get a deep feeling of what it is that makes you emotionally stable and happy without doing anything. Through doing things with and for your partner, you're going to find out what makes you happy at a soul level in a person, in a partner. Because it's Venus, the planet of partners, in the 4th from your moon. The moon already being the carrier of 4th house energy. Cancer rules the 4th sign, right? So Venus, by doing things with people, the obligations of sharing time with others, not just your lover, but everyone in your life, is going to teach you something about what makes Scorpio moon tick. Because Aquarius is the 4th sign from Scorpio. Aquarius is the underbelly of Scorpio. I hope that makes sense the way I've conveyed it. Now, ultimately, I could go on forever about it, but what I'd like to do now, I've given you guys my personal spiel on this combination. Now we're going to talk about Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega and unfold a little bit about having, in a lighter way, what it's like when we have the moon in Scorpio and Venus in Aquarius from a Western writer's perspective. And this is sort of like a love-making kind of energy that's conveyed in this book. We read that the intensity of Scorpio's all-or-nothing approach to intimate relationships doesn't typically mesh well with Aquarius's easygoing, relaxed attitude towards love and sexuality. The moon in Scorpio is deeply needful, wants to be consumed in a soul bonding with the partner, although ironically it often doesn't get it, because it just looks for what's the easiest thing to enjoy in a partner and tries to see if it can find a deep soul love that way. Again, Scorpio moon always has to be careful of being Mr. Super Happy when it's like dating people, because then it doesn't really see. All it's doing is finding people who enjoys the good sides of you. But you're not going to get a soul partner experience. It's the Venus in Aquarius that allows you to engage with people so that they can see your moods, so that you can show it, and then if they still like you, if they can find humor when you get super how you are, then you won't have to be insecure about your moods or about these moments of uncontrollable, intense emotional energy, because you've shown them that already and they can see it. So ultimately, this is a Venus which likes to have easygoing, chilling experiences with people. And because they're in a square to each other, this Western author is saying that it's a fixed moon, Scorpio, fixed air sign, Venus. And the air sign of Aquarius doesn't necessarily mesh, the easygoing nature of Aquarius doesn't necessarily mesh with the intense energy of Scorpio. But I would say that it is a better thing than this author is conveying here. Just got to put that out there. Although a cool detachment may pervade your initial approach to romance, right? It's the cool attachment, going and dating and doing easy things together without showing too much of your moodiness. The intense emotions smoldering just beneath the surface through Scorpio moon, they're not going to lie dormant for long. Once your spontaneity finds roots in a loving, trusting, romantic union, your red-hot libido prompts you to take the lead in imaginative and exciting lovemaking. And this is a person, Scorpio moon is somebody who can be tantric. Really, it's more of a Kama Sutra than a tantra, which is it's a negative statement if you understand it. Kama Sutra is all about enjoying the superficial aspects of sex in order to blend into the heart in a deeper and more entertaining and fun way, which is not necessarily evil so long as it doesn't obstruct real soul bonding. This is somebody who can get locked into just having lots of erotic interests with lots of people just for the sake of the Aquarian detached side of having sex that is deep and hot and steamy probably no matter what. But if you enjoy that superficial layer of lovemaking, and you can make it fun and lots of variety, you want to use that as a limb of the love that you express through a partner that actually means something to you. And you can be polyamorous and do this, or if you're a solo asexual person, you can just simply enjoy the outgoing nature of your sexuality with people and then just find ways to sublimate your moon and Scorpio energy some other way, you know? Don't let astrology put you in a box, but ultimately what I am conveying here is that the moon does better when it's in a soul bond for the sake of a love that is inherently shared beyond form. Soul past soulmate kind of karmic realizations of shared hearts. When you have that space with somebody, then you don't need to fight for it in the way moon and Scorpio sometimes can. And that's a better, easier energy than you having 10 million lovers who you have many easygoing Aquarian, light, superficial sexual episodes with. You'll end up being with many people for whom you have to perform that. Or even just in general, if the performance of this gets in the way of you seeking the love that you want in your life, the sexuality has an energizing attraction, obsession energy that can just get you locked in the comfort of being that person for people. And at that point, you just got to make sure that you're not the one being used. Even though you feel like you're using them to get your thing out, they're also using you, if that's the case. So ultimately, however you decide to do this can make for some steamy, imaginative, exciting lovemaking. You can enjoy the Kama Sutra, and hopefully, if you find the right person, the Kama Sutra will be a bridge to Tantra, which is that actual deeper experience of love where you can be a very capable, versatile lover. One who can have a whole lot of easygoing sexual fun while it's like, wink, wink, by the way, I haven't said it, but I'm completely meshing my soul with you right now. And that can be a beautiful thing if it's played out right. So I hope this makes sense, folks. I hope that this has been an accurate conveying of your energy. Let me know in the comments what you feel about it. For now, I'm Dustin Cormier. This is How to Rock Astrology. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of whatever you catch me on. Cheers.